Welcome back to another video. In today's video, we're going to cover MercadoLibre's earnings. The 7th of May, they released their earnings. They're nothing short of excellent. We're going to cover them. And at the end of that, we're going to do a valuation to see if right now is the right time to buy MercadoLibre or if we should wait for a more fair price. With that said, my name is Jorin. I'm a quality investor and I write about quality companies over on Substack. If you want to receive newsletters about these companies, click the link in the description, head over to my Substack and you can subscribe for free and you'll receive newsletters from me about quality companies like MercadoLibre. With that said, we're going to go over the earnings. Right now I'm using FinChat. I use FinChat for all my fundamental analysis and to listen to the earnings calls and to look at the slides that are being provided by the company. If you want to give FinChat a try for 2 weeks, you can do so. No card required. Just use my link in the description. I am affiliated, full transparency, but you can give this program a try. It truly is the best program. I use it for everything. So we're going to use this right now. So heading over to the Investor Relations tab right here, we can create an AI summary of MercadoLibre's earnings. And we're going to go over them. Net revenue and financial income, 5.9 billion, up 37% year over year. If it was FX neutral, it would actually be 64%. That is massive growth. Income from operations, 763 million with a 12.9% margin. Net income, 494 million with an 8.3% margin. Total payment volume, 58.3 billion, up 43% year over year. If it was FX neutral, it would be up 72% year over year. Gross merchandise volume, 13.3 billion, up 17% year over year. FX neutral, it will be up 40%. And FinTech monthly active users, 64 million users. Bizarre. 64 million users on their FinTech arm. That is up 31% year over year. It's just phenomenal earnings for MercadoLibre. This summary didn't cover a couple things I do want to cover. So I'm going to pull this up right now on the investors slides. The first thing I want to cover is the marketplace highlight and the unique active buyers. So last year, Q1 2024, MercadoLibre had 53.5 million unique active buyers. This year, Q1 2025, it's 66.6 million unique active buyers. That's a 25% growth year over year. That is just bizarre. And unique active buyers really is unique people signing up on the platform and start buying products. So this is massive growth for MercadoLibre here. The next thing I want to cover is the same and next day shipments. In millions is this. So in Q1 2024, this was 114.7 million. And right now, Q1 2025, that's 143.4 million. MercadoLibre has been investing a lot of its cash into its operations and particularly in shipping and its fulfillment and its logistics. And the fact that year over year we see 50 or 25% growth tells me that the investments MercadoLibre is making into its shipments, fulfillment, and logistics are actually paying off because more people are using these shippings, and in this growth is telling me that it's getting more efficient as well. One last thing I want to cover in the earnings release right here is within their FinTech arm, their past dues from 15 to 90 days and larger than 90 days, the NPLs, non-performing loans. These are in short just bad loans. MercadoLibre calls it doubtful accounts, but these are just loans where you can just wave goodbye to your money. So if we look at the 90 or more days past due, in Q1, this was 17.9%. Right now, it's 18%. So that's a 0.1% increase. This is not worrying. This should not be worrying to you. As you can see here in Q2 2024, it was 18.5%. It bounces up and down. We need to look out for that there's no real trend, an upward trend in these non-performing loans. And the same goes for the 15 to 90 days past due loans. In Q1 2024, it was 9.3%. Right now in Q1 2025, it's 8.2%. So we do see a steady decrease right here. Overall, I see stability, and that is what we should be looking for. There's stability in these non-performing loans, and it's not getting out of hand. Provision coverage. So coverage for these non-performing loans, they call them doubtful accounts, like I said. So in Q1 2024, MercadoLibre had a 156% coverage for its 90 days or longer past due loans. This decreased a little bit to 147%, so that's a 9% decrease. Again, I'm not really worried here. It shows stability here. We should be worried if this keeps on decreasing, because that's going to show, or that shows me some doubtful accounting is being done. The same goes for the 15 days past due loans. 103% in Q1 2024. That declined to 101% in the latest quarter. Again, it is above 100%, so I'm not worried here. You should also not be worried. We're not seeing a clear trend in less coverage for these non-performing loans. I did want to mention this because I saw it on Twitter that people were worried about this, but this is not something you should be worrying about. It just bounces up and down as long as there's no real trend in lower coverage for these non-performing loans. We're all good here. And especially with the 15-day non-performing loans, they're still above 100%, so they're covered well for these loans. Another item I wanted to mention is the gross profits, the operating margin, and the net profit margin. As we can see, the bottom margins, the operating and the net profit margins have been increasing. This is a consolidated margin, so this takes from both its segments, commerce and fintech. These are improving, but as you can see, gross profit margin is decreasing. I checked in all the earnings releases and all the annual reports why this is the case. So I am looking at some notes right here. MercadoLibre has been investing a lot in its infrastructure. This has been had a damping effect on its gross profit margins. MercadoLibre also made strategic investments in its shipping, like I mentioned earlier. They're investing a lot into its shipping and in its logistics. We saw that 25% increase in the same day and next day delivery. That is a result of these investments, but this impacts margins on the short term. And some investment impacts the margins on the long term. So there is a decline in gross profit margins, but should we be worried? No. Why? Because it's all just due to investments that MercadoLibre is making. They're also investing in logistics infrastructure in Brazil and Mexico. Those have increased costs quite significantly. Those increasing costs, again, dampen the margins of MercadoLibre. So if we switch to a quarterly view here, we can see it a little bit better. As you can see here, the investments take place. There's a hit in margins and then there's a boost in margins. But overall, it is going down a little bit every quarter. And this is all because of the investments that MercadoLibre is making. We're going to expect, or we should be expecting, more compression of these margins because MercadoLibre is investing a lot of its cash into its operations. That is going to increase costs and that is going to decrease the margins. Once the expanding operations, or once they're done with certain types of investments, you could see improvements in the gross margins again. But for now, you should not be worried about the decrease or the compression in the gross profit margin. It is all because they're investing for long-term growth. And as a shareholder, I do want to see long-term growth via investments. And if it takes some of the gross profit margins, I'm fine with it. Because if we look on an annual basis on the latest 12 months view, still, they have a 52.2% gross profit margin. That is exceptional. That is above average gross profit margins. This is margins that you see in tech businesses. And MercadoLibre has a fintech arm, but also a commerce. Of course, the margins differ there, but all consolidated, still a very solid gross profit margin for MercadoLibre. So overall, it is looking very good. MercadoLibre had very good earnings. The gross profit margins took a slight hit. Investments, we need to get used to it. They're in their, I wouldn't say hyper growth, but they're in their growth phase. So we should get used to some margin compression, as long as in the long term, over the next 5 years or something, at some point we are going to see margin expansion again, or margin stability for MercadoLibre. But do I think MercadoLibre can grow at these pretty substantial rates? I do think they can for at least the coming years. Especially with their digital payment and digital banking arm. There's a huge surge in digital payments and the adaptation and increasing acceptance also with online shopping, and that should underpin a very durable secular growth narrative for MercadoLibre. Latin America is also the fastest growing e-commerce market globally. They're projected to grow roughly at a 19% CAGR for the next 5 years, so that's massive growth. 70% of the online adults in Latin America are actively shopping online, and this is only going to increase. And with MercadoLibre being known in these geographies, I think MercadoLibre is going to benefit greatly from this type of growth. And also online banking penetration in Latin America is increasing gradually. So between 2019 and 2024, the penetration rate stood at roughly 22.14%, and that increased to 35% in 2024, so last year. Online banking penetration in this region will increase further in the following years, and they estimate it could reach roughly 50% in 2029. So there's a lot of growth expected in these industries. There's a lot of growth expected for MercadoLibre. MercadoLibre truly is familiar with the geographies it's operating in. People are familiar with MercadoLibre as well. It is a company from their hometown or from the neighboring town. So a lot of people have trust in MercadoLibre. Amazon tried to go into Latin America. If they succeeded, it's questionable. They have some market share, but right now MercadoLibre has the most significant amount of market share, and they're only growing it, and that is because they are familiar with their geographies compared to any other business. Of course, you have Shopee that is gaining traction again because also they have some familiarity in those regions. But I think it will be a battle between Shopee and MercadoLibre, and not that much with Amazon, because again, Amazon, it's an American business. In America, they're very familiar. In America, they can experience a lot of growth, maybe also in Europe. But for Latin America, I think MercadoLibre truly is the only option for a lot of the residents of those Latin American geographies. And with all this growth, I think that MercadoLibre is going to take the biggest piece of the pie in total. So with that said, we're going to go over the valuation for MercadoLibre. I can tell you right now, it's not cheap, but we're going to go over the valuation. So right now we're looking at the valuation metrics for MercadoLibre. If we're going to look at the forward EV to operational cash flow and forward EV to sales, I think those are the most fitting for MercadoLibre. As you can see already, it's not that cheap. We're going to toggle the median line for both of these. And we can see here the forward EV to operational cash flow. The median sits around 17.3. And right now, MercadoLibre is trading at almost a 30 times EV to operational cash flow. So based on the cash flows that are actually coming into the business, compare that to the enterprise value, MercadoLibre is definitely not cheap. It's pretty overpriced here, actually. And if we're going to look at the forward EV to sales, as you can see, the median right here since July 2022 has been 4.12-ish. And as we can see right now, it's at a 4.35. So it's closer to the median right here, showing that it's a little bit more fairly valued if you compare it to the total enterprise value and the sales that it's making. But again, MercadoLibre, just like Amazon, they're both pretty much the same business. They thrive on operational cash flows. So I do think EV to operational cash flow is a little bit more of a reliable valuation metric for MercadoLibre. With that said, I really hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please be sure to like the video. If you're new, subscribe to my channel and leave a comment in the comments down below. Again, if you're interested about newsletters on quality companies, you can click the first link in my bio. If you want to give FinChat a try for 2 weeks, you can do so completely for free for 2 weeks, no card required. You can use my link in the description. Again, I am affiliated with FinChat. That's it for today. Thank you very much, and I hope to see you in the next one. Cheers.